Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Today we have two great new revenge stories for you. But before we begin, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. And our first story is, lie to me, cheat me out of my hard-earned bonus, threaten me with dismissal, let me help you with your current projects. Some background for context. For the last 6 years, as of last September, I worked for my country's civil prosecution office. What we do is protect the interest of the state in civil cases as a counterpart to the prosecution office, which represents it in criminal cases. For the first 4 years of my career, I worked abroad, seconded to an international court as a representative of the state. While I was there, I'd heard that things had gone south with the appointment of a new boss. But since I was 2,000 miles away, I was minding my own business, turning in my work regularly, and generally not getting into the whole mess that had started brewing back home. My mandate ended, and I was returning back home to work for the central office. I was appointed in the office representing us in international courts and arbitration. As soon as I started working there, I saw what everyone else, longtime colleagues, was complaining about. I knew that the workload and schedule would be quite burdensome, but then again, so was it when I was working abroad. After a few months, I started noticing things that left me at first puzzled and after a while enraged. The new head of the department had fired older, qualified staff to hire new staff who had, according to her, finished prestigious schools and were extremely accomplished in that line of work. Problem was that these new recruits, for the first 6 months on the job, barely even touched a single case. Even when they attempted to turn in a report or a brief, things were sent back to me and a couple of other colleagues for a double check. Seldom the reports and briefs had to be redone in their entirety due to fundamental problems. I first thought this was normal since we were there for a longer time and knew the precise procedures, but this went on for more than a year. I approached my head of division and asked what the whole deal was with the work of capable workers needing double checks and why their workload was so light while we were being assigned more than 15 cases a month with a plethora of other miscellaneous duties to be met simultaneously. This is the part where the puzzled phase ended and the rage started. They were all kids or close family of friends of the new boss who'd been hired as a favor, etc., etc. I complained regarding this problem, but they fell on deaf ears. This also bought me a couple of enemies in the office. Workload was dumped on me systematically, with the new guys just hitting Facebook or whatever all day long. The worst part was that they were being blatant in their disregard for their responsibilities and how their work was being reassigned to me and my colleagues. Things went like this for some time. I started in the meantime to look for another job. Despite loving the current work I was doing, it had become too much to handle. Working from 9 until 8 p.m. and most weekends, all without overtime, and with the higher-ups complaining that work was not being done on time. Things peaked when an international court started a program of translation of its key judgments for the year. It was a program which provided for funds for the translation from English into the local language. Our office, as a coordinator, had to find the people to do the translations and publish it. Lo and behold, they made us do the translation, something completely out of our scope of work, and mind you, illegal. We complained, but we were subtly threatened with dismissal or some other form of reprisal. We were at least promised some sort of bonus for the work done. On top of all the work, I had now to translate and edit 450 pages of court judgments. It took us 3 months to finish the whole process. But in the end, we were pleased with what we'd done. Publication day comes around, and we're told that there was no money for the bonuses on our work since budget was tight. We felt so betrayed and at the same time like huge idiots for believing something good would come out of it. What makes us feel even worse was the fact that the office was paid thousands of euros to hold the publication event, all while we were on a tight budget. That was the worst week of my career. In the meantime, I'd finally gotten a couple of job offers, but I had to wait for a couple of months for the new workplaces to start their activity. I could not wait to leave that toxic environment. Exactly 5 weeks before I was to leave the job, we catch wind of a new project on translation. We get called into our boss's office and are told we would repeat the procedure, but this time we would get paid for certain at the end of the job. Everybody was looking down, quite unhappy and in disbelief, apart from me, who told them I would be more than happy to take even a larger burden since I'd finished with most cases for the next 3 months, all while smiling ear to ear and thinking to myself, F you. 3 weeks into work, I'd done a total of 5 out of 600 pages of translation while excusing myself with random small work that had to be done. I couldn't wait to give my notice. Friday comes by and I submit my 2-week notice. Everybody was in disbelief. I'd found another job since I'd not even once talked about my job hunt with anyone. First week goes by with me slacking off the whole time. One of the new additions to the office, Boss's Lickspittle, ratted me out. I was called into the office and asked for explanations. I promptly explained that I was closing off all the remaining cases, completing the procedures for transfer of files, taking out things with HR over the process, and other general issues that I had to iron out before leaving. I didn't want to leave anything that would jeopardize my departure or give the possibility to my boss to fire me instead of me being able to quit without besmudging my record. I told her that I was unable to tend to the translations since I had more urgent things to do. She reminded me that I had to finish it before leaving. I plainly said no, and as of next Monday, not my job. She started screaming and cursing, seeing as this was her pet project, and threatened me with dismissal over non-completion of a superior's request/order. This is when I cut her off and told her that she could not fire me for not following an illegal order. My line of work, as well as the description of my position, does not provide for me to do these translations. I threatened her that if she did something to ruin my record, I would gladly meet her in court where things would go public. And not very good for her. Next day, I got notification from HR that my papers were ready and I could actually leave early. Went back to my office, made a copy of all the files I'd worked on since I knew the IT guys would wipe everything, packed all my stuff, met my close colleagues, tried to explain to the other guys where every file was in case they needed it, and that they should migrate all files to another PC. But I was disregarded. And immediately after I filed a report with the ombudsman and her superiors at the ministry, the head of the department was reprimanded, which got into her permanent record, and the practice ceased immediately. A few weeks ago, they called me over some important documents they'd lost on a very important case. I told them to go F themselves and watched in happiness as my boss personally lost the case with a penalty of 15+ million euros. Icing on the cake, a bunch of my colleagues left the job too in a matter of months, and now the office is in a real crisis with a lack of human resources and qualified staff. Only people left in the office are the boss's moochers, and they've started spiraling due to the pressure of having, for the first time, to do their actual job. And our next story. How I get my money back from a scammer when police refuse to help. This is not my story. It was posted on a web board in my native language, but I think it'd fit here. OP has a real estate business. Often buy a land or an old house, then improve it and sell it. Occasionally, she leases a place, improves it, then subleases it. She found an old shabby house at a great location online so she could contact the agent and offer to buy it, but the agent said the owner only wanted to lease it. So they agreed to make a lease contract that had to be renewed every 3 years and negotiated a date to sign it. However, OP has to go abroad for some time before they'll be able to meet and sign a contract. So agent asks for a deposit for about $1,800, and OP agrees. One day after a deposit is transferred, the agent deletes all her posts on the website, blocks OP's number, and left the chat in line, similar to WhatsApp. OP collects all chat logs and transfers paper, then goes to police. They said they cannot do anything since it's a civil case despite OP's protest that this is fraud, hence a criminal case. Without police's paper, OP cannot go to the bank and has that agent's account suspended. Instead, she consults a law firm, which also has a private investigation service. For about $75, the investigator gave OP the agent's real phone number, legal address, her license plate, the company name, and address where she works, list of her relatives, and their phone numbers, also their address. And the lawyer at the firm wrote a letter stating that OP is going to sue for criminal case and send it to her legal address. OP then spent another $150 to hire an investigator to find out where she actually lived and keep an eye on her for information such as who she lives with and her daily routine. After finding out that she only lived on her own, OP went to her house to confront her and ask her for the money back. She said she doesn't have it now and will transfer it back later. OP proceeds to tell her that in that case, she wants her agent to contact her agent's boss to guarantee that OP will get her money back. She refuses to let anyone at the company know about this. Instead, she transfers $900 back to OP via mobile phone At that moment, she said she will transfer the rest at the end of the month. OP said that is unacceptable, that she'll contact her parents, then shows the info she has on her. The agent was beyond shocked and tells OP that her parents had mentioned a letter from a law firm, but they didn't open it. The agent then began to weep and cry and beg for mercy and promise for the money at the end of the month. OP agrees, then said she changed her number and asked for her agent's phone so OP could save her number into her agent's phone. When the agent hands OP the phone, it was an iPhone. OP said she will keep it and only give it back when she gets the money at the end of the month. Also, the remaining balance is not $900 but $1,125, for she has to hire a private investigator to get to her. However, she gives her back her SIM card. OP said that if she goes to the police about the phone or she does not receive the money, she'll contact her company and her parents and take her to criminal court. At the end of the month, OP received the money but contacted her company anyway to make sure she could not find a job in real estate anymore. The agent calls OP and berates her for her dishonesty as she did everything she was told to do, but OP still contacted the company. OP said to her that honesty is not for a thief. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.